thousands of job seekers in Gauteng descended on Orlando Stadium to receive their appointment letters. This is part of Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi's Nasi Ispani recruitment campaign. The program is targeting youth below the age of 35 who are unemployed. Joining us is Kristal Duncan-william, who's a project lead at Youth Capital. A very good morning to you, good afternoon rather. Thank you so much for your time. Government received more than 1.2 million applications for 8,000 jobs advertised by the recruitment program, a very sad reality, essentially exposing how youth unemployment remains a concern for post-apartheid democratic South Africa.
Absolutely. I mean, there's over 9 million young people who are not in employment, education or training across this country, you know. We could fill that very stadium over 90 times and we still wouldn't contain all of the young people who are not earning or learning. And the truth of the matter is that our economy is just not growing enough to create enough jobs for these young people and absorb them into the formal economy. I'm surprised they didn't get more applications. And I think what's even more sad for me, you know, looking at this drive and, you know, the 8,000 jobs that were listed, I had a brief look yesterday. And a lot of the jobs are senior positions. They're not positions that young people are equipped to take up. And so the sad reality is how many of those 8,000 jobs are actually suited for a young, inexperienced job seeker. It's actually in the minority.
Yeah. As Youth Capital, I know part of your mandate includes your mission to see South Africa where all young people can thrive by tapping into earning opportunities. What has research revealed about the majority of young South Africans? Their challenges, be it around education, expenses of looking for work and finding ways to tap into earning opportunities?
Yeah, so we know from the survey that we did about 2 years ago now that 8 in 10 young people have to choose between looking for work or buying food. And that is a staggering reality for, as you can hear, the majority of young people that we surveyed. And young people continue to struggle to find ways to tap into earning a living. So even if we talk about self-employment or entrepreneurship or the hustle, many young people come from households where nobody's ever been employed. 80% of young unemployed people have never had a job. So now you've never had it modeled to you what looking for work or what being in a workplace looks like. And you've never been in one yourself. And now you're expected to create a business without any kind of insight or information. And so it's really difficult for young people to get a foot in the door, whether that is employment or through a side hustle. And it's why we at Youth Capital are really pushing for public employment programs. It's one way for young people to get quality. We can create quality programs that create quality first work experiences that help young people get skills for the workplace, but also connect them to people and resources that give them information and networks that help them access a next opportunity. And we mustn't underestimate the power of social networks.
So with youth development and job creation being essential elements in fostering economic growth and social stability and I suppose the overall well-being of society, the onus is not just on government. How should stakeholders be getting involved?
Yeah, so that's why we've come up with the action plan at Youth Capital, which are the 10 key things we think we need to address as a society. And it covers a multitude of things, all the way from education through support for looking for work or your next step and into the job market. And there is a role for everyone to play, you know. Businesses, small and medium enterprises need to think about how they can bring young people into their workplace. And Youth Capital has run surveys with small and medium business owners because we understand there are challenges there. You know, you don't have an HR department. Now you have to train and mentor a young person who has no experience. We understand that that's a burden, but we have to do those things. We have to get young people in the door, you know, and then big businesses and government. I think we need to work better together around a holistic roadmap to tackle youth unemployment and not just have these once-off drives that have nice big numbers, but, you know, once the drive is over, the young person sits at home again. And then to the average South African, you know, Youth Capital through the month of June ran the Stand Up campaign, and we called on all South Africans to help young people to connect to information, resources, social networks that help them find those opportunities, as I said. And we're currently running a campaign called Fund Our Futures, which is around the public employment program. And anybody can sign that petition to say we really need to keep funding of these public employment programs going because it is a first step on the rung for young people. And we need to at least be able to give them that first step.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the big challenges, Kristal, especially looking at the current socio-economic dynamics? I mean, the picture you're painting of some young people never having worked in their lives or anyone else within their household. What do you think are the big challenges in perhaps overcoming those realities?
Yeah, so I think our basic education system doesn't really equip young people for the world of work in 2023. And young people also don't, as I said, have role models. So they get told, be a lawyer, be a doctor. They don't really know how to forge a career path that gets them somewhere that will earn them an income. There's also a big misconception that everybody has to go to university and technical and vocational colleges are less than. But yet there are fields of study that are more technical or vocational. There's a massive shortage in the country and globally. And so I think just education at a school level around what pathways look like into an earning income for young people. And then I think what we also need to do is understand that young people are heterogeneous. It's not a one-size-fits-all. There is no silver bullet. We need to have a complex plan to address youth unemployment. We can't come up with overly simplistic things of like, we'll just give everybody a job. We'll, get all these youth employment programs and give young people soft skills and that will solve the crisis. No, and we also need to understand that all of this work has been done on the supply side. What about the demand side? In a country, we can't even keep the lights on. How can our economy grow? If we don't have economic growth, we cannot create jobs, and we can equip young people all we want. But if the economy doesn't create jobs for those young people, then we're doing all of that in vain. And all of these pieces really need to come together.
How do we move away from the perception that the only credible link to the world of work is a university degree, as opposed to also looking at the technical and vocational institutions and what they have to offer?
I think there's some, public awareness work that needs to be done with businesses around what these qualifications mean. I understand that our qualifications framework is complicated. Even I have to go and look at it to remind myself of the different levels. But I think there needs to be some education there. And globally, there is a shift more towards short courses because particularly in the computer development sphere, we know that languages, computer coding languages, the ones that you learn at university are outdated by the time you finish your 3-year degree. And so increasingly, if you look at the tech sector globally, short courses are the way to go. And I think we're a little bit behind in our thinking in South Africa, and we need to move out of that conservative thinking.
So very lastly, how then do we continue to forge ahead in building these social connections for future generations and tapping into the varying ways to support young people in creating these opportunities that unlock other opportunities?
Yeah, so obviously there's the work that government needs to do that I think we've touched on already. But, the average South African must not underestimate the power that they have. Review on Google a youth-owned business. Help a young person to craft a CV, craft their LinkedIn profile. Give them a little practice with a mock interview. Give them a taxi fare to get to the interview, which costs them money. Help a young person with their business proposal. Give them a little bit of guidance about how to do bookkeeping for their small business if you're a small business owner. I think we often think because it's such a big problem, we only need big solutions. And we do. Education system, infrastructure, economic growth, those are all big things. But if every employed South African, I always say, connected with one unemployed young person, help them access an opportunity, we already would change the landscape of this country. So I think we mustn't underestimate the power of big and small actions in tackling this huge crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. Kristal Duncan-William, project lead at Youth Capital.